All right. We just had a tornado warning go out for Jackson County, Alabama. And it's kind of hard to see within this area because we are sitting right around the actual radar, a high top radar right here. So I'm looking to see what we've got. We've got a radar indicated rotation tornado warning. Until 2:15 p.m. Central Time for northwestern Jackson County, southeastern Franklin County, Tennessee. Severe thunderstorm capable, that's important, capable of producing a tornado was located 9 miles east of New Market, 15 miles east of Moore's Mill, moving at 40 miles per hour. So it's going to be this area right in here is most likely going to be what we are looking at. And that gap kind of closed up a little bit, but we're going to be looking at this area right in here. Possibly a little bit further to the south. On our velocity side, we're seeing winds around 40 to 50 miles per hour down there. Around 30 to 40 miles per hour there. I think this tornado warning likely went out due to some hard to interpret data because we're so close to the radar station. You get a lot of different interferences in there. And we are not getting any notification of a tornado being spotted on the ground. It's a tornado warning. And it is out for a storm that is capable of producing a tornado. 9 miles south of Huntland, 18 miles east of Moore's Mill. Sometimes you got to take that and use that to find where these things are when they're cluttered like this. So yeah, it's going to be in this segment right in here. It's literally right over the radar. Not much to see, but we can discuss, areas. I'm going to, velocities aren't showing much. I'm seeing this little blip of red right in here around Dr. Knob Mountain. That's the only real rotation I'm seeing right here on the map. This is something that, we will have to wait and see if we get any reports. That almost has to be what they're talking about. And there is some rotation right in there. And if we look over on the reflectivity side, we've got a gap right in there as well. I hate this area right here because it is hard to determine exactly what's going on sometimes. Interestingly enough, this storm could be headed right towards the actual radar for our area. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Look over on the comments here. How's it going, Steve Littell? Tina Newbie says she's in Muscle Shoals for work training. And we can look down here, Muscle Shoals, Alabama, see what's going on. Not seeing a lot going on as far as notifications, just some spotty storms down there. come back up here. I don't like using this radar here, but this is about the only time it's useful, so we're going to do that. Here, let's get rid of these watch boxes. Watch. Sphere, thunderstorm. Watch, there we go. Alright, that should give us a little bit more visibility. So I'm trying to pull up the MRMS, which is, it's kind of like more like the normal radar you would see on an app. I don't really like using it. It doesn't really work that well. But for this, when I can't see something sitting right over the radar, it takes information from other radar sites and kind of combines it in. Tell you what, I'm going to restart. Pull this back up. Yeah, see, it's very cluttered. You can't see much with the MRMS. It doesn't give you much information. It's very old school. But it does have a nice little rotation map. You can take a look at some things like that. Not seeing much rotation, honestly. I think that this situation, this tornado warning, if there is one, it's weak. It's in, right now it's going to be this cone where you can't really see much of anything. I get frustrated in these situations because I can't see what I want to see and I can't talk about what I want to talk about. But I would say anybody within this tornado warning area, definitely take cover. Be careful, be cautious, because there's not a lot of information to go on. Once we make it to the other side of this, blackout cone where the actual radar station is located, we'll be able to see more, and we'll be able to see if it's making its way up towards Marion County. I would say is a heads up for Marion County, especially where this storm's located around Jackson County out towards South Pittsburgh, Kimball, New Hope. Go ahead and prepare. And, if you're on the road or out and around, get to a place where you can get somewhere safe in case if this storm does make its way over and continues to stay strong. Kara Pruitt says that she has an outdoor swim meet at Signal Mountain at 5 p.m. Should they cancel? It's kind of going to be a shooting field out there. You may be able to get that storm, or I'm sorry, you may be able to get that swim meet off. Let's see what we're looking at 5 p.m. The model doesn't show much out there right now, but honestly, the HRRR is not super reliable at the moment. We're going to be in a shooting field of storms. I would say the way that that's looking, the way this storm's coming in, and it is 3 o'clock Eastern time, I'd say there's probably a decent chance you're going to see some storm or at least some rain. If it goes from 5 to 8, I would also say that there's probably a decent chance you won't be able to complete it if you are able to get it started. Again, if you're just joining in, we have a tornado warning for down here, Jackson County, Alabama. We're keeping an eye on it. The storm's currently right around the actual radar itself, so we have a lot of very skewed data coming in from the radar station. We're watching in anyways because you can sit there and you can take your finely tuned eye and look at little spots that could set off an alarm. Not really. So, I'm not seeing any evident rotation, but we're still right here, butt up against the radar. I would say the most likely spot is going to be around this area, if there is a tornado warning. So around James, or if there's a tornado on the ground, around James D. Martin Skyline Wildlife Management Area. Possibly some people camping out there in that area. Let's see. I would bet that this tornado warning is going to back off and disappear shortly. As soon as they get good information that there's not a threat. We didn't even have a severe thunderstorm warning coming off of this. We've had a couple of advisories for some wind gusts around, 45 miles an hour or so. Here we still have one out. So previously, so gusts in excess of 40 miles per hour. Storms moving 50 miles per hour. I will be ending this stream if this tornado warning does fizzle out, especially if I don't see anything else going on. But just know that if we do have a threat later on tonight, I will be right back on here to let you know what to expect. Hope everybody's having a great Monday. Mondays are always so wonderful, aren't they? Sorry if it's a little noisy in the background. I wasn't expecting this to pop up like it did. It didn't really look like much. And so I started some laundry. So if you are hearing some noisiness in the background, that's what's going on over there. What I think happened is, as this storm approached the actual radar site, I think that as we got towards that skewed data where you can't see a whole lot very well, there are some methods to see it a little bit better, but you don't really get a good picture. I think that it became a better safe than sorry situation. They put out a warning just to make sure that people were notified and safe. And that does happen sometimes. All right. We should be seeing some new data. This radar indicated tornado warning. It was out till 2:50. Okay, so they've dropped the time down to 1:46 p.m. Central Time. Which, that's at 1:46. Okay, it's still 2:15. So for another 30 minutes or so, that warning will be active if they do not drop it off the map early. I kind of think they're going to drop it off the map early. Michaela Whitfield, I think you're going to get spotty storms. So really, the entire area has changed over from, we had a possible broken line moving in. Let me zoom out a little bit. We had a little bit of a broken line moving in originally, and we go back and forth between seeing a broken line and spotty storms. Of course, right after I said, all the information saying we're not going to really see much of a line, we start to develop a line. That's just how it goes. I can only see what's available and then give my best guess. For the entire area, what we're really watching is, let me pull up my pen. We're watching these storms right along here. And we want to see if these storms hold together as a solid line, if they become more of a broken line, or if the line itself kind of doesn't have enough strength to hold together. If it doesn't hold together, we're going to have storms going later into the night, different little segmented thunderstorms. if it does hold together, the storms will be over earlier, but we will have a little bit more threat of like a broad threat of severe thunderstorm winds. So it's kind of like pick your poison. Personally, I would like this line to hold together and us to see kind of like a one big boom after this frontal storm system right here. I'm sorry, this front storm system, prefrontal. So, the dream scenario, this segment of storms holds together, eats up a lot of the atmospheric energy. This line stays a line, comes through, we get some good rain, a little bit of gusty wind, and then we're done for the night. That is best case scenario. That would put Whitfield, get rid of the pen. That would put Whitfield. Okay, so this model is still kind of showing spotty storms with a line later. So I'd say a thunderstorm for Whitfield County with some possible winds around 11 p.m. or so. Maybe closer to midnight. So if we keep that organization, I'd say, you know, yeah, around 11 p.m. for Whitfield County. We have to keep an eye on things. Things keep on updating. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning out now for Jackson County, Alabama. We do have a corner cut out of that. So Marion County is not included in that severe thunderstorm warning yet. Let's kind of zoom back in here and see what we are seeing inside this storm. We're seeing a bit of a rotating storm up here. So we're looking at this segment here, which is going to be, you know, this segment here. It's not making a whole lot of sense. I think we're still getting some interestingly bad information. Okay, that newest sweep that we just got on the relative velocity makes a lot more sense. Just from what I'm seeing over here on, you know, the storm radar, not really seeing any organized or significant rotation. Just kind of seeing storms around. That severe thunderstorm warning. Okay, tornado warning has been taken off of the map. And it was taken off the map 20 minutes early. So that's done. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Again, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's come out for Jackson County, Alabama, and also Franklin County, Tennessee. I do have a couple of people out in that area as well. Sometimes they send me messages and ask for updates. So I kind of dabble in that area too. So we're seeing 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Those are some pretty good wind gusts. You know, as we've been seeing these periodic segments of rain lately, that rain, that moisture works its way deeper into the soil. And it does allow for some of these lighter winds to be able to take down trees. So be cautious about that. I'll expect that storm to kind of continue on right around the Tennessee, Alabama, and then Tennessee, Georgia state line. So Dade County, Georgia, Marion County, Tennessee, over into like the Tiftonga area of Hamilton County. You'll see these storms work their way in. I'm not seeing any real organized hazards, threats, rotation. We did have that tornado warning go out. I think that we just had some skewed data. So what I'm going to do, because I have to do some packing and some work around the house, I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. I'm going to keep an eye on the radar. I'm going to answer Sharon's question about Red Clay State Park real quick. Red Clay, you're probably looking at stormy conditions here at probably around 4:30 p.m. It will be kind of the same segment of storms that I'm going to keep my eye on, so be prepared for some wind gusts around 60 miles per hour. The reason why I say a little bit earlier, for we do have this kind of rain working its way out around Bridgeport, Alabama, and some of this around Stevenson. So it's going to arrive a little bit earlier in this main point. But yeah, I think we're really just going to be watching some stronger winds this evening. Of course, there is that slight potential for a tornado, and we'll keep an eye out for that. I'm going to jump off of here for now. I will jump back on later if we need to look at things. I hope everybody's having a great Monday evening. I know Mondays suck. You know, you're getting ready to head home. Hopefully we can get the rush hour over with without a whole lot of bad weather in a lot of these areas. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case for Marion County. Actually, I don't think it's going to be the case for a lot of the areas sitting there thinking about the timing. So be careful if you're out during rush hour. All these storms are working their way through. Take your time. Leave a little early. Get there a little late. Everybody will be okay. You know, if you get rushed and you get in a wreck, then you're not going to get there the time that you wanted to get there anyways. So we'll talk to everybody soon.